What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's not welcome back, it's just welcome. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed. I hope you guys are doing great, enjoying the holiday season. I myself am doing well, finally. I really feel like that trip to Puerto Rico did what it needed to do. Like, it really did it for me. I came back despite almost dying on the trip. I came back feeling so refreshed and emotionally recharged. Puerto Rico was awesome. I gotta go back. I really enjoyed it so much. I was unaware of all of the history. That is so interesting. And if you are looking for a spot to take a nice little vacation, I highly recommend Puerto Rico. Loved it. However, that is not what today's video is about, okay? Today's video is about the life of the strange and demented Dana Sue Gray. Have you heard of her? Now, if not, don't you worry. We're gonna get into all of the things and I'm gonna let you know exactly who she is and everything that she did. But before we get into all of the things, I have to take a moment to thank today's sponsor. Care of is a subscription-based supplement service that makes it super easy to establish and stick with a vitamin regimen. Now, I've been using their multivitamins for about the last 6 months or so, and I just recently incorporated their gut health into my routine, and I must say I'm noticeably a lot less gassy, if that ain't too much information. I absolutely love how convenient their little packs are and how easy it is for me to be consistent, which is something that I really struggled with in the past, especially during travel. Like, having a pill case and trying to divide them out and all of that, girl, it was too much. And oftentimes I would just say, you know what, girl, we'll just pick up where we left off when I get back. In addition to the individual packs that they have, they also have an app that makes it extremely easy to keep track of the vitamins that you're taking, how long you've been taking them. They have an option to receive daily reminders. And in the app, there are also rewards for your consistency, plus discounts and merch that you can purchase. It's a really cool app. And what I really love about Care of is that if at any time your concerns change, or if you want to shift your focus to a different thing, like from skin to nails or brain fog focus issues, you can just retake the quiz and get new recommendations based upon your latest concerns. Now, if you have not done so already, please take a moment and just take Care of's quiz to find out what's recommended for you, and you can use my code BrittneyV50 for 50% off of your first order. Again, thank you, Care of, for sponsoring today's video. And now, without further ado, let's get into the strange, peculiar little Miss Dana Sue Gray. Dana Sue Gray is born on December 6th of 1957 in Southern California. And well, you know what they say about them Sagittarius, child. We already off to a semi-rocky start, but y'all my girls or whatever, so I ain't gonna give you too much. And her father, Russell, works as a hairdresser, and her mother, Beverly, is a former beauty queen and also a former MGM starlet. Now, one thing to know about Russell is at the time that he and Beverly got married, he was on his 4th wife. One thing about Russell, he is not gonna stay anywhere where he is unhappy, okay? And by wife 4, he desperately wants to have a child, and so he and Beverly tried to make that happen, but unfortunately she suffers several miscarriages before she is able to give birth to the couple's first and only child together, Dana. Mr. Russell is very calm and a bit passive, but his wife Beverly, on the other hand, is quite the opposite. Not only is Beverly very vain and full of herself, she is also very aggressive, and she does not mind a little bit of chaos, honey. Not at all, okay? And this actually results in the demise of their marriage together. See, one day Beverly gets into a little fight with the elderly woman. Yes, elderly. And her putting her hands on this much older lady is the straw that breaks the camel's back, okay? Russell had put up with a lot, but this was just taking it a bit too far for him. And so he packs up and leaves. And this happens when little Dana is just 2 years old. Afterward, Dana spends the majority of her time with her mother and does not see her father that often. Now, unfortunately, the apple doesn't really fall too far from the tree with these two. Dana is a very troublesome and stubborn child that does not respond well to discipline at all. Dana would oftentimes steal money from Beverly to buy snacks and candy, and in addition to being a little thief child, she had also taken after Beverly's temperament and her willingness to engage in fisticuffs at any given moment. Now, in school, Dana regularly flies into these hellish fits of rage, both staff and students being the target of her violence. She does not make any friends. She really doesn't get along with anybody, and she makes no real effort as far as her schoolwork. And honey, when she doesn't feel like going to school, she simply does not, okay? She will write a letter, a forged letter, to get out of class. Hell, the teachers probably knew they were forged letters and just let her take the little day off, honey. A break for everybody. Now, when Dana is just 14 years old, life as she knows it completely turns around. Beverly is unfortunately diagnosed with breast cancer, which is progressing rapidly, and this is in the 60s, early 70s, so medicine had not progressed as far as it has today. However, Beverly's team of doctors and nurses, they do their best to try and treat her. And after spending so much time witnessing her mother go through treatment, Dana is convinced that she has found her calling in life. She wants to be a nurse. Not long after being diagnosed, unfortunately, Beverly loses her battle with breast cancer, and Dana is now 16 years old. After the loss of her mother, she goes to move in with her father Russell and his latest wife, but this is a very short-lived arrangement. And child, it's short-lived because when the stepmother finds marijuana in Dana's room that she shares with her stepsister, she puts Dana out with no objection from Russell. Around this time, Dana had discovered a new passion of hers, if you will: extreme sports. She meets a skydiving instructor in his early 20s, Rob, who promises to sort of mentor her and also allows her to move in with him. And the two of them actually live together for the next several years. Now, during this time, Dana does continue to go to school. She finishes high school. She does get herself on track to become a nurse. She also becomes an expert skydiver. All of those are good things that have happened, but unfortunately, all of the things that happen are not good. The two of them are engaging in a romantic relationship during which Dana becomes pregnant twice, and both times, Rob convinces her to terminate the pregnancy. This is not something that she wants to do. She does try to change his mind, but he is just convinced that this is not something that the two of them needed to do, at least not at this time. So she listens to him, she goes through with it, but she does resent him for pressuring her into this. She could have kept her babies, but she would have had nowhere to go. She would have struggled to complete nursing school, and he's pretty much the only person right now that is helping her. In 1981, she graduates nursing school, and from there, the relationship with Rob is pretty much done, okay? She moves on to a guy by the name of Chris Dodson, and this is a very on-again, off-again relationship. Very rocky, very, very toxic. Okay. And he is also very into extreme sports. He himself is a professional windsurfer. He takes on the task of teaching Dana windsurfing, and the two of them make frequent trips to Hawaii to participate in all of the extreme sports that they are into. Now, unfortunately for little Dana, she couldn't keep this man either, honey. So after her relationship is dissolved with Chris, she meets a guy by the name of William Gray, and she and William get married. Now, William is a fellow sports enthusiast who had a crush on her since high school. Like, he had been waiting on his chance, honey, and he was just convinced that this was his time to have his happily ever after, because he knew Dana was going to be his wife or whatever. Dana just didn't know it until now. Unfortunately, though, Dana is a lot like her mother. She got a lot of Beverly in her blood. Beautiful on the outside, but very violent and toxic within. Or maybe that has something to do with her being a Sagittarius. Now, over the course of their marriage, Dana suffers multiple miscarriages that she is convinced are due to her terminated pregnancies. And this sends her into a deep depression. At this point in her life, there is nothing that she wants more than to have a child with her husband. By this time, she is working as a labor and delivery nurse at Inland Valley Regional Medical Center, and that, of course, only makes it worse. In addition to working as a nurse, her and her husband, William, they explored several different business ventures. And with being an entrepreneur, of course, you suffer highs and lows in the business, but Dana makes things extremely worse with her desire to have all of the expensive, nice things. She would oftentimes buy really expensive items that they really couldn't afford. Like, they had the money in the bank, but it was kind of like it was partly rent money, or, light bill money, so they really didn't have the money. And so before you know it, the young couple is in financial ruin. However, despite that and her not really being the partner that William had hoped she'd be or had fantasized that she'd be, it is Dana who decides one day that she can no longer do this anymore, that she is done. But she doesn't just up and leave him for no reason. Well, child, not exactly. See, Dana had been sneaking and creeping with her side lover, Jim Wilkins. And she had also been making those pillow talk promises to him that she was going to one day leave her husband for him. But of course, she had not stepped foot out of the door, honey. And he had finally gotten to the point where he was tired of being made broken promises. So in June of 1993, she finally makes good on her promise and she tells William that she no longer wants to be with him, packs up her most prized possessions, and she goes to live with Jim Wilkins and his young son. Now, we all know divorces take some time sometimes, and theirs is no different. But in the meantime, the two of them have to file for bankruptcy together to avoid foreclosure on the home that they had bought together. And even with how much the home's value had increased over time since they purchased, at this point they still managed to owe more on the house than what it is worth. And child, that is only the beginning of the downward spiral of 1993 for Miss Dana, okay? Just months later, after leaving William, she is fired from the hospital that she works at for misappropriating Demerol and a few other opioid painkillers. See, Miss Thing here had developed herself a nasty little addiction and was actually stealing them from the hospital for her personal use. Now needing some money, she attempts to pull on William's heartstrings, if you will. She is hoping that he still loves her enough to slide her a few 10s and 20s here and there. However, William is not for any of her little reindeer games, nor is he interested in helping her out at all. And when she does not stop contacting him like he asked her to, he decides to, well, he had to move out of the house because he couldn't afford it no more. But he decides to keep his new address a secret from her as well as his phone number. He changes his number on her, tells everybody, you know what, don't give it to her. And this seems to work for a little bit, but desperate times call for desperate measures. And so Valentine's Day of 1994, Dana decides that she has something to say. And William is going to hear it, okay? She reaches out to William's parents and asks them if they could deliver a message to William for her. But she wants to meet up and have a conversation face to face. No hard feelings. Now, initially, William agrees to meet up with her and at least hear her out and see what it is that she wants. But when that day comes for them to meet, he changes his mind last minute, does not show up, and does not offer to let her know that he's not coming. He simply just stands her up. And this pisses her off. She shows up at the time and place that they had agreed to meet up, and she waits for William. 30 minutes turns into an hour, honey, and an hour turns into an hour and a half. And finally, she realizes that he is not coming. And of course, she has no way to contact him to see, like, baby, are you in traffic? Like, what's going on? Angered, she visits 86-year-old Norma Davis and ultimately takes out her revenge and her frustrations on the poor elderly woman. Child, she just like her mama. Her mama, that's how she lost her man, fighting older ladies. But she does not just physically assault the older lady. She actually attacks her by strangling and stabbing her to death. What makes this even more sad is the fact that when she knocks on the door, Norma Davis invites her in because she is no stranger to Norma Davis. The poor, unsuspecting older woman sees her and invites her in. Now, I'm going to try to explain to you the relationship between Norma and Dana without confusing you, because I'm embarrassed to say how long it took me to wrap my mind around this. However, it could very well just be me. Like, I take my little care of brain pills, girl, and they help out a lot. However, now in 1988, a couple of years after Russell had left Beverly and little baby Dana, he had remarried a woman by the name of Jerry Davis. And this was not Jerry's first marriage either. This was her second marriage. Her first marriage is to a man by the name of Bill, who is Norma's son. Bill had unfortunately passed away, leaving Jerry single, honey, ready to mingle, and then she had met Russell, and the two of them had gotten married. So Norma, the 86-year-old lady, is the ex-mother-in-law of Dana's previous stepmother. Not the one that put her out, but one that had got with her daddy a little bit after that. And I feel like you might be a little bit confused, so I'm going to try to give a visual breakdown to explain this one more time. So Russell and Beverly were together. They had Dana. Then Beverly beat up that older lady and Russell left them. He said, sayonara, I can't get with that. Later on down the line, one of his new wives is Jerry Davis. Now see, Jerry Davis had lost her husband to death, child. He had died on her. And he had an elderly mother, Norma Davis, who she wanted to continue to take care of because they had a good relationship. And Russell didn't have an issue with this because his competition was no longer here. Like, it's not like Bill was still in the land of the living for him to be jealous of. So he didn't mind her taking care of and looking after her ex-mother-in-law. You get it? I hope you get it. And there had actually been a period of time where Norma had opened up her home to Dana when Dana was just down on her luck and had nowhere to go. She allowed the young girl to live with her for a short period of time. And so this is how Dana knows that this older lady is very vulnerable and lives alone. Baby, Dana ain't shit. 2 days after the brutal attack, a neighbor stops by to check on Norma, having not seen her in a couple of days. The door to the home is unlocked, which she found to be quite odd because Norma always kept her doors locked. She enters the home and finds the woman laying on the floor of her bedroom upstairs with a wood-handled utility knife lodged into her neck and a fillet knife in her chest. The police, of course, are called to the scene, and there is no sign of forced entry. There is no obvious signs of struggle besides a broken fingernail on Norma. And they are confused as to who would want to hurt this lady or who could have gotten into the home without having to break a window or pry a door open, because the only person that she really knows is her ex-daughter-in-law. They search the house a bit more and they find a Nike shoe print in the kitchen. And they also find on the first level of the home a smear of blood on an armchair. The phone cord has been ripped out, but other than that, that's pretty much it as far as evidence. And after talking to the neighbors, they cannot come up with one person that could be viewed as a suspect. Exactly 2 weeks later, Dana is back in the neighborhood and she stops by one of Norma's neighbors' home, whom she had learned early on had a history of alcohol dependency. And she is also fairly familiar with this woman. And so she stops by, knocks on the door, and tells her that she herself had been struggling. And she remembered that this lady had referenced a book that helped her to get control over her issue, and she asked the woman if she can borrow it. June Roberts eagerly invites Dana into her home and offers her a place to sit and wait while she looks for the book, because she knows she still got it somewhere, but it's not in a spot that she can just right off the top of her head recall and go to. While June is looking for the book, Dana rips the phone cord out of the wall. She then creeps up behind June and strangles her with it. Afterwards, she rummages through June's home. She finds her purse, takes 2 of her credit cards, and goes on a shopping spree in an upscale part of town. About 10 days later, Dana enters an antique store, stating that she is looking to buy a picture frame for a photo of her deceased mother. While being assisted by the associate of the store, Dana waits on the perfect opportunity to pull out her phone cord and strangle the woman that's helping her. And the woman is 57-year-old Dorinda Hawkins. She had been working at the store by herself that day, which she tend to do sometimes, unfortunately. And once Dorinda is unconscious, Dana takes her wallet and the $20 out of the register and flees the scene. Afterwards, she goes on another shopping spree, but of course that 20 don't get her too far, child. So she then pulls out June's credit cards and uses them again. Now, unbeknownst to Dana, Dorinda has actually survived this attack, and she is able to give a full, thorough, detailed description of what Dana looks like. 6 days after the attack on Dorinda, 87-year-old Dora Beebe is settling in after returning home from a doctor's appointment when she hears a knock at her front door. The young woman standing there on her porch tells her that she is lost, is not from the area, and is in need of some directions if she would be so kind as to help. Now, Dora is not all that great at giving directions, so she invites the young woman into her home because she has a map that she can look at and hopefully get herself back on track. And as soon as the two of them enter the home and the door is closed, Dora Beebe is attacked and killed by this young woman. Later that day, Dora's boyfriend shows up to her home when he had been unsuccessful in reaching her all day and makes the gruesome discovery. Police later find out that an hour after the attack had to have taken place, her credit cards were being swiped all across town. One of y'all sent me these lashes. Thank you, girl. Keg's Vegan Beauty. I had spoke about them before. I'll link them in the description box. With all of these random casualties and attacks, the neighborhood is shaken up, okay? Things like this don't typically happen around their parts. The neighborhood is shaken up, okay? And with the police not having really any evidence, no idea who could be responsible, no leads, nothing to go off of, the people are really afraid. Anybody could be next. The attacks seem very random. But one constant between everybody that had been attacked is that they had been attacked while they were alone. So people in the neighborhood felt like they could lessen their chances of being attacked if they were not alone. So they literally were condensing down the houses. Like John over here who lived by himself was sleeping over here with Joanne, okay? So it'll be two of them at all times instead of one, and so forth. Like families were even shacking up together to lessen their chances of being alone and becoming the next victim. And detectives, they become so desperate for a lead or something that they consider using the help of a psychic to give them some guidance. Girl, they just could not see it on their own, okay? They needed a crystal ball. However, for Norma, they have begun to suspect that maybe her beloved ex-daughter-in-law could have done this. They found it quite odd and difficult to believe that Jerry was still happily looking after her ex-mother-in-law. And so they begin to speculate, like, has she now over time begun to view Norma as a burden that she wanted to rid herself of? Like, girl, what's going on? It also doesn't help that at the time that they go speak with Jerry, Jerry is wearing Nike tennis shoes. And yes, Nikes are very common shoes, honey. These Nike tennis shoes match the size and the print of the one they saw in the kitchen perfectly. But for that, Jerry has an answer. She'd admittedly been by the house, but it was only to drop off grocery for Norma, as she had frequently done for the longest. Now, typically she would show up and find Norma there in the house. Sometimes Norma would be asleep. If she was awake, she would come to Jerry and greet her. However, this time Norma did not. Jerry could hear the television on upstairs, so she figured that, like several times before, Norma must have been taking a nap. So when she's done putting away the grocery, she leaves quietly, not to disturb Norma. Now, initially, they do not buy this story at all, and they spend weeks focusing on Jerry as their suspect, like trying to debunk her claims and make her the person who has done this. Over time, though, her willingness to assist them in any way that they needed to be assisted, she just didn't come off as somebody who had anything to hide. And finally, they realized that, yeah, she is probably not the person behind this, and we are probably wasting our time, which of course they are. You're gonna go to your room, Bella. Now, once they stop focusing on her as a suspect, Jerry and the lead detective actually form a bond over their determination to find out who had attacked Norma. And she is no longer with Russell, for y'all that's wondering, thinking that's some little, scandalous tea. It's not. Y'all know how Russell get down. He probably on wife 7 at this point. The fact that Norma did not have many relationships was initially what made them feel like this was going to be an impossible task, but it actually turns out to be the key that helps them unlock the truth of who had done this, okay? As they're talking and going over Norma's routines and the people that she knows, one person comes to mind. Dana Gray. Is this something that Jerry had feared would have happened? No. But is it something that she would not put past Miss Dana? Also, no, it's not. They spent some time keeping an eye on Dana, her comings and goings. And they're also able to link her to the credit card usage of both Norma and Jean. And so with this, they have enough evidence to issue a search warrant and an arrest warrant for her. What's crazy is the day that they go to arrest Dana at her home is the same day that she claimed her last victim, Dorby. Once they take her into custody, they proceed with the search of her home. And in it, they find things that not only belong to June Roberts, but Dorinda Hawkins as well from the antique store, as well as the credit cards that she had stolen from all of the ladies that she had taken credit cards from. Now, they also take in her boyfriend, Jim, and his son, Jason, for questioning as well, because, child, they just thought maybe they had some sort of insight. You never know. It might be a family affair. You just really never know with these things. But apparently, they genuinely had no idea that she was up to any of this. Now, during her initial interrogation, Dana claims that she had not stolen any of these credit cards from any of these ladies. Even after detectives tell her that they have literal evidence of her using them, now to that she claims that she never said she didn't have them. She said that she didn't kill these ladies and steal them. She found them. And because she has this nasty little shopping habit, she just could not resist taking them out and shopping with them. Upon hearing the details of what had happened to each of these women whose credit cards she has stolen, she has no sympathy. She exhibits no remorse, no sympathy, none of that. Like no feelings. It's very much given what they got to do with me. Instead, she tries to paint herself as a victim, someone who is worthy of sympathy herself, because she has this nasty little shopping habit that has gotten her in trouble today, and this overwhelming urge and need to shop all the time has been such a problem for her for quite some time. Like, it's really just, child, just, oh, woe is me. You think they got it bad? I can't stop shopping. Now, of course, they're not buying any of the things. But what really made her realize that, yeah, Miss Girl, it's over for you, is when Dorinda Hawkins emerges, honey, ready to positively identify her as the attacker. And she didn't know that Dorinda had survived. Dorinda definitely popped out giving, surprise, bitch. I bet you thought you seen the last of me. One thing y'all never gonna take from me is a dramatic ass inner corner. Literally never. I'll be doing this for my kids' high school graduation. Dana tried to pretend like she had not done any of the things, but when they set Miss Girl up right in front of that good old death penalty, she decided to change her tone. She was like, all right, y'all got me. She decided to accept a plea deal that would give her life without the possibility of parole ever, and waives all of her rights to appeal. The only condition that she is granted under this plea deal is that she is not formally prosecuted for Norma Davis. All of the other attacks, however, she willingly accepts responsibility for. Miss Thing is currently serving out her life sentence in California's women's prison in Chowchilla. Is it called Chowchilla? I think that's how you pronounce it. If y'all want to write her a little hate letter for the holidays, that's where you'll send it. And that is pretty much it for Dana's story. I really like the way this look came out, and I wasn't trying to give too much because I'm going to like a game night with some friends, and we giving a lot, but you know, they know what I do for a living, so it's expected. Now I gotta get out of here because I still gotta make the macaroni for the party, and I hate to try to rush out on you, my girl, because you my girl or whatever, but I gotta go. So I appreciate you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts down below, share the video with a friend, subscribe if you have not. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, genuinely, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. Was that all in my outro? Because I felt like I missed something, but maybe I did. Girl, let me go, because I'm supposed to be there in 34 minutes, and I can't make macaroni in 34 minutes, so I already got some splaining to do. The life of the strange and demented Dana, that is now you said her name. Heal your little Miss Dana Sure. That is not her name, it's Dana Sure. My baby is suckling on her little teddy bear, and I think I can see it popping up like the audio ripples. My Blue snoring in the background like I'm not working. Hoping that he still has some sort of, oh no! I got somewhere to be tonight. I ain't got time to play like this. Taking care of and looking after her ex-mother-in-law. You get it? I hope you get it. Basically, if you a mom and you ain't got your baby and your mama got your baby, then you not a mom. Your grandmama's the baby. Recall and go to. While Gina, who is Gina? Who is Gina? Detailed description of what Dana looks like. Y'all, one thing my dog's gonna do is scratch and snore in the background by this young woman. Really, Blue? And of course, this woman is none other than, damn, what's her last name? Child, now why I go get a facial over in San Juan, Puerto Rico, girl? This y'all fault. Y'all be gassing me up like, oh, your skin is so nice. And so I look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't see anything really going on that's too crazy. Like, oh, okay, skin is nice. Girl, I thought I was about to impress the esthetician. Girl, she told me my skin was so dehydrated. I need to drink more water all the time. I need to use a vitamin K moisturizer, girl. She really pulled me together. I was so embarrassed. Y'all really sent me out. That's crazy. It also does not help that at the time that they go to speak to Norma, not Norma, girl, Norma is not who they speaking to. Bella, go to your room. Thank you. Excuse me. Apparently Bella wants to say hi. Bella, it's 6:30. I have a game night to go to and I have to make a pan of macaroni and cheese after I film this. Like, girl, she don't care about none of that. Come here. Come on, big. Say hi. See, now you gotta go. You violating. They take some time to, is it surveil? Are you surveilling somebody? With some surveillance out. Oh, did I show y'all my new tattoo? It's so cute. I love it. You'd be shocked at how many grown adults feel like another grown adult should give them an explanation for decisions they make. Because, girl, while most of the people in my Instagram inbox were like, oh my God, I love it. I had people asking me, why would you do that? What was the point? Child, like, is that certified mental illness where you really believe that somebody should give you an explanation for a decision that they made as an adult? Y'all, anywho, where was I in the story? Like, I really don't know where I was.